Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today's conversation is about building corporate gifting into a revenue channel on Shopify. Not the theory, the actual reality of it. What it looks like operationally, how you get clients, and what happens when the holiday rush hits. I'm Cam Balzer. I've spent half my career in D2C e-commerce in product, marketing, and strategy. And the last couple of years, I've been pulling all that experience together to build Send-to-Many to help Shopify merchants turn gifting, both corporate and personal, into a growth channel. I've got two merchants with me today who are also building corporate gifting into a growth channel. Souren Etyemezian founded Fastachi in Boston 35 years ago. Fastachi roasts nuts in a style rooted in Middle Eastern tradition. Over the years, Souren has sold through just about every channel you can imagine. And now he's deliberately narrowing his focus to e-commerce and gifting. He moved to Shopify in Q3 last year, launched his corporate gifting setup bravely, I might add, heading straight into the holidays and hit the ground running. Simon Paquin is the COO of Felix Norton, a gourmet cookie brand that's been a Montreal institution for over 40 years. He grew up eating their cookies, and now he's operating the business.
Yep.
The brand has had quite a journey from 50 stores in the 90s, through a sale and a bit of a crash, and then a rebuild from a single food truck, and now has 3 retail locations plus a growing e-commerce business. Simon's a relentless innovator. Just ask any of his app partners.
Yep.
So we've got two very different businesses with us today, different paths into corporate gifting, but a lot of the same lessons. So let's get into a conversation. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Morning.
Thanks, Cam. Hello.
Okay, I've got a bunch of questions for you that we'll just kind of go through, and I'm going to mix things up a little bit along the way. And let's start with the product. Corporate gifting starts with having a product worth giving. So it'd be great to hear from each of you, like what's something really intentional that you've done to make your product something that people want, not just to buy for themselves, but to give as a gift. Simon, do you want to start?
Yeah. I could go in many directions actually, but what comes to mind as like the biggest factor is the packaging. So the packaging in which the product lives is usually what the first thing the recipient of a gift will see, right? So the first impression, the first wow effect. So for us at Felix Norton, of course, the product is the cookies. It's the gourmet cookies, full butter, great chocolate, and an amazing delicatesse. But the reality is like people are going to arrive to an event to give something to their wife, partner, whoever, and it's going to be in a bag, in a box, in a tin or whatever. And the first impression that you'll have from the outside packaging is going to leave actually from what we've seen from the data, but also the feedback, the actual human feedback from people. It's great. It's a wow effect. The wow effect, it's a concept that Seth Godin, for those that know, has the Purple Cow book, great book. But basically this concept of that book is like, you have to be a purple cow when you are either a product you sell or a service that you sell. But in our case, our purple cow, our concept of a great gift packaging is what we focus on. And we always focus on, we're always trying to innovate. And I'll end on this little point, is like last year, we've really re-released from the 90s a classic, which was our Magnum, the Magnum of cookie. Basically, it's a huge bottle filled with 30 cookies, and you receive a bottle of cookies. How crazy is that, right? It was a big product in the 90s, and we just brought it back in our flashy pink, as you can see here.
Nice. So having not just the product itself worth giving, but the packaging being like really memorable as well has been a key for you guys.
Oh, 100%. It's what makes the product, well, giftable in one way, but also increase the average value for the business of each order by its way. Because if you think about it, just if I can go in a little bit of nitty-gritty details, when you walk by our cookie place, a shop, or you go online, if you want to eat for yourself, you're not necessarily going to buy 30 cookies to eat on a park bench outside, right? But you would potentially gift 30 cookies to a family, to a person in your team that they can bring home and share with the family. So that's why our slogan is baking smiles since 1985, because it's an experience once you receive the product, but it's a business strategy. we went from 5xing our average order value, from a 6 cookie to 30 cookie. Yeah, it's part of the strategy as well.
Yeah, nice. Souren, how about you? I know your product is some of the most delicious nuts I've ever tasted. And how do you think about product in terms of giftability?
Well, our approach is a little bit different. We focus on the product and the packaging we try to keep our packaging as simple as possible and focus on the product. We started selling the product and then got into gifting the product. So we always focus on making the quality of the product. And in our stores, we were selling everything in bulk. And then we got into gifting. And then as we grew, we tried to make our package as simple as possible, so it's easier to ship, and we focus mostly on the product quality.
Yeah, and Souren kindly sent me a sample of his product, and I promptly ordered a whole bunch more when my family ate it all out from under me. So I can attest to the quality. Amazing nuts. Souren, let's continue with you. I mentioned in the intro that you've sold through a number of channels, and
Correct.
that at this point you've kind of deliberately walked back from some of those channels to tighten your focus a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that and how gifting kind of has played a part in that strategy.
So when we started 990, we started with a retail operation, and 3-4 years later, we started wholesaling because there was a request from businesses to purchase our product. And then we dived into wholesaling by being at the shows, trade shows, creating packages, individual packs. And through the years, we've sold to private jets, spas, wineries, department stores, food stores, wine shops.
Yeah.
And then in 2009, we started doing farmers market. And at one point we were doing 15 farmers market with one store. And then we decided, say, oh wow, the exposure, having more stores will be good for the business. So we opened up 6 stores, and then COVID came, and then we closed 5. We kept 1. And in the past few years, we're trying to move into the online business and reduce our retail exposure.
Okay.
Which includes gifting.
Retail is risky.
I mean, it is. Things change. There aren't that many retail businesses out there. I mean, in the Boston area, it's expensive. Labor is expensive. Yeah. So we're trying to move into the online business. That's why we moved to Shopify and trying to bring in our gifting business more online. It can be individual gifting, multiple, or corporate gifting. So we're trying to build. That's why we're trying to build the online existence.
Yeah. Okay. So it's having that focus on your own gifting channels just has helped you kind of manage some of the risk and cost in the business. Is that right?
Definitely. I mean, we love gifting, and so our product is purchased all year round. Mostly, I mean, fourth quarter is a big season for everybody in the gift business.
Yeah.
But we gift all year round for different occasions, which is great, and we love it.
Great. So let's go back to you, Simon. When did you kind of recognize that corporate gifting was going to be actually kind of a thing you needed to think about separately from your retail business and your e-commerce business as sort of its own channel?
I'll tackle the part of the early 2020s because I can speak for the brand when it started in the 90s. It was a different environment, a different world. But I can definitely speak and attest to what made me realize that it was going to be a huge business or part of our business from the tied to the e-commerce side, and I'll explain why. So on the customer behavior side, what we've noticed is that people in businesses, employees, people in charge of HR, executive assistants, the boss, the president of a business, they kind of are guilted in offering something in the Christmas season for their employees or to their employees or clients. The people in the team are going to be like, oh yeah, you need to buy something for XYZ people, blah, blah, blah. And we realized there that there was a lot of friction to purchase gifts. Let me explain a bit what I mean there. So the reason that we also work with Send to Many and Cam and the team is that people oftentimes would be like, okay, so I'm the executive assistant for this company and I'd like to purchase cookies from you guys. How does it work? And you you open a can of worms of like, okay, but like, can you send me a list of employees, a budget, the flavor, allergies, things like that? Yeah. And what we realize is that the easier you can make, or I guess the more seamless you can make the purchasing experience or the choosing of the product or applying constraints to the process of ordering gifts for your employees or people, the conversion rate from those people went up, the gifters, the HR assistants and the executive assistants and everyone like that. So the big opportunity was reducing friction, increasing convenience to purchase and ability to track the order and everything like that. But that made us realize that like, okay, so we already had like a brand affinity to corporate gifting because we're cookies. Like you'll give cookies, it's a nice thing to give, generally speaking, like very, very like holistically. But a corporate customer for us could be worth between $3,000 to $7,000 for one sale. And that just keeps my kitchen busy for a long time. And now that we have multiple stores again, we can spread the production across multiple facilities, but still it keeps people busy. I give work to people, which is amazing as well. But it's mostly that we're very busy. So the more we can sell better and more and easier, I guess I have the Daft Punk song in my like better, faster, stronger. But like the better we can sell as efficiently and as efficiently as possible is kind of like the North Star with corporate gifting, because we want it to be like order an Uber type of thing, order your Uber and it comes to your door. You have nothing to think about. Your credit card is billed and people are happy eating the cookies, right? Yeah. That's where we are going because these people are worth so much money for our business. It's the Christmas season, the corporate gifting season, if you will, for us is between like October and December, a little bit after January for the shipping cutoff. Sometimes in the end of December, you can't reach everyone in the country. But that's huge. That's massive for any business that would like to focus on the gifting aspect of the opportunity of gifting.
Yeah, but there's an irony there, right? Because you're investing in building this e-commerce channel, which is supposed to make things easier for your customers and for you guys, right? Like so you can do things at scale. People can transact, self-serve, checkout. But then you have this channel that's a huge revenue opportunity. Yeah, but to make it easy for your customer, you basically take on all that friction that you've been trying to offload.
Yeah, right? But that's your project. Honestly, we really don't do anything anymore since we've onboarded with Send to Many. I'm not saying that because we're a partner or we pay for the service, by the way. It's not an ad for you guys. The reality is that the complexity is on Cam's shoulders. Our system, which is on Shopify, which is, thank God for Shopify, honestly, because it's the organizational layer of the whole company. Everything from accounting to operations to fulfilling orders from stores. Of course, we have other app partners that are helping in that process, but the bulk of the complexity with corporate gifting, as we can double tap later on in the conversation, but is about tax calculations, gathering addresses, making sure it's an actual door that the product will be delivered to. What time will it be delivered? Is it going to be, like all those little like operational details that are very hard to remember when you have hundreds of orders a day, but they're all automated and all systematically like structured in the system that is Send to Many at the moment. So honestly, we have the pressure, but really it's not. Like it's Shopify and Send to Many and all this ecosystem makes it so like it's a beautiful pair with the online store and the corporate gifting opportunity. As if you shop on our website, guys, by the way, you'll see it fluidly a little bit everywhere on the site, how to corporate gift, if you will.
Yeah. Souren, what's been your experience on that front? I know you've gone through several iterations of your website. Have you what have you found in terms of like taking that friction on of managing all those details for your corporate customers versus trying to make it easy on your website? Does that make sense?
I agree with Simon that Simon, that we need to make it simple product choices for corporate gifting. You don't want to confuse the customer, and being online is great.
Fast.
They can order anytime, 24/7. You come in the morning, you have orders, and then with Shopify, it's again, I agree, that made it simpler by tagging, writing flows. You can sort your orders. There are great apps to process gifting orders. And with your product, with your app, just it's a big difference from where we were and what we're doing now. During your busy time, you don't want to have an issue with the name, the last name, which column it is. There's a comma.
The gift messages, the little personal notes, right?
So all of it to line up correctly in your system, send to many makes that so easy because it's integrated well with Shopify, and everything falls in the right place. You don't have to, in the past, when you get a spreadsheet with so many names and addresses, you have to go through it. And then you need to import it. And if there's one letter incorrect, then you have to go back. And you don't want that during the holiday season because you're doing so many of them.
Right.
So send to many helped us a lot with that. Also when you land on the page, it has the form. So it makes the customer have different choices. And I know you guys, every day you improve it, add to it, integrate it better. So that's been very helpful for the product.
Great.
Make our season not as difficult as it is in the past.
Long days. These are long days.
Yeah, I was going to ask a true or false question. You can run a serious corporate gifting operation and still sleep in November and December. True or false?
No, false. Oh my God. The amounts of orders that you get, but the amount of orders that you get is just of an order of magnitude. I don't want to say it messes the operations because you plan for it, but it's a whole beast. It's a whole, it's a 10x period, so it's crazy.
For us, we every year we try to make it simpler, just because of time, employees, availability of the product. That's another issue. Cost, supply chain, all those are problems. So as simple as possible. Is it good or bad? I don't know, but we'll find out every year.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about simplifying for corporate customers. Do you limit the product selection that you offer to your corporate customers? How do you make things simpler from a point of that point of view for corporate customers?
Every question has a different answer. As overall, you simplify your business and then you implement that online. So packaging, how you pack it, what you put in it, and labor being an issue. So, if somebody specifically knows how to, let's say, tie a ribbon on a package, and if that person is not there, then you have problems. Those are small things, but those are the things that you try to simplify it and make it easy for your busy time so you can deliver and pack.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, Souren, do you guys take custom orders? Like, I want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or it's standardized packaging?
I take custom orders, but I treat it, every order is, we look at it differently, for pricing, what can be done, what not to be done. And then we try to drive the customer to what we want them, where we want them to be. So private labels, private ribbons, we tell the customer, you produce it, give it to us, we'll do it. We're not producing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Simon, how about you? Do you take customer orders?
Try to minimize it as least as possible, to be honest, because we've had in the past to go buy. Just imagine it. Okay, we have to go buy cookie tins a week before Christmas across multiple dollar stores because the customer wants a specific circular purple tin that is not. You can't pre-order that from China or wherever, like a big batch of. And we've had in the past also, we've had to print customer's logo on blank tins. Which, could you imagine, like, the nightmare? But at the end of the day, most of the people, they just want a good packaging experience, like a good unboxing experience. And we've decided to invest in standardized packaging, and we try to push people as much as possible towards that. Unironically or ironically, at the end of the day, they look for a price too, right? The gifter is looking like I have $35 per ad or $50 including shipping per ad. That's also I think one of the most important factors, especially if some of their customers are super far and shipping is more expensive, because we sell fresh food, right? Fresh bakery goods. So we have to ship overnight. We have to deliver overnight, actually. So it's one of the most expensive method of delivery around Christmas, even more,
Yeah.
So
And Souren, on the delivery front, you have a product that lasts a lot longer than a freshly baked cookie, right? Like, what are the considerations for you around shipping?
Actually, it's we don't have a problem. Mostly is when we hand in the package, then the problems happen. It's not when we're sending it or they receive it. Just in between, my address and the recipient address is when issues might happen.
Yeah.
We try to not cheapen the packaging, the boxes that how we pack, because adding a 50 cents of shipping material can save you a refunding $40 package. That's how I approach it. That's how my approach is. I'll throw another $1 in packaging to make sure that it's not gonna I'm not gonna get a call that the package came damaged.
Yeah. Great. Just by the way, before I ask the next question, if any folks on the stream have questions, feel free to post them to the chat, and we'll save a little bit of time at the end for those questions. If you could give one piece of advice to another food brand that's just starting to build out their corporate gifting program, what would that advice be? Simon, do you want to start with that?
I mean, what?
Or go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I don't mind. I was going to say, I was focused on getting customers through the door to get some feedback initially to tailor what you would sell ultimately to the masses, right? Before doing mass marketing, I would go knock on doors and be like, hey, we do want to start selling, I don't know, water bottles as a gift. And what would you like if you were to gift them? Just open conversations with your actual potential customers. And then it's going to help create an offer that's going to be probably more interesting to new prospects that are colder to you. By cold, I mean they might not know your brand. They might not know why they should do corporate gifting. Because some of the time, or most of the time, whenever we knock on doors, usually in that season, people are like, why would I, But in reality, you educate people into, people are going to what do we say? It's going to increase retention. People are going to remember you. They will like you more if you give them things, at the core, right? The human need at the core. So just to figure out what to sell, how to sell it, and just avoid the 2-3 years of, we tried this year, it didn't work. Just go straight to the customers is what I would say.
Yeah. How about you, Souren? A piece of advice for somebody starting.
And if you order that has 40 addresses, you're going to send, you got a client ordered 40 packages. That 40 packages are going to turn into 40 new customers. So make sure it's packed well, you have enough information, and if the product is good, they can become 40 new customers for you. I mean, that's how organically we grow in our corporate gifting. It's people receiving our gift, and they do it in January, or they'll use us the next year.
Yeah, we've been calling that the gifting flywheel. The fact that every new customer, every recipient that receives a gift from your brand becomes a potential new customer. And since a corporate order might be 25, 250, 1,000 customers in some cases, 1,000 recipients, making a good impression on all those folks really creates that opportunity, not just for a happy gift giving experience, but for the recipient to actually become a future customer, and then ideally becoming a gifter themselves. Like how
we see that,
like,
if I can just double tap on that, Cam, we see that happening a lot. For example, because we have such a long history as well, like Souren, like we'll have my husband bought us a cookie bouquet for my, I don't know, a date or Valentine's Day. And now as the mom, she will buy cookie bouquets when it's graduation time for their daughter. So like they like to gift the things they like to receive, especially when it's edible. You can eat it. It's amazing. It's like it's not something you're gonna put on a shelf like, oh, thank you for the little tablet or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, with food gifting, what I've noticed in the years that they're always going to gift food. If there are the economy is not good, the size might get smaller, the few number, you get a little bit less names, but they're always going to gift food. So stay on top of it.
Great. Well, thanks for all your insights. Gifting is really a growth channel from what we're seeing across the merchants that we work with, and it can take some time to get the flywheel going, but we are on the back end data that we see. We can definitely see that behavior of people receiving a gift, then coming back, purchasing again, and repurchasing in the future. And it's definitely something that we're working on with Send-to-Many to help merchants kind of keep that flywheel going with some tools and features in the app.
It's very important.
Yeah. And just before we go into a few minutes of Q&A, I wanted to give just a quick preview of one of those features that we have coming in Send-to-Many. I'm going to tease our new multi-recipient checkout experience.
That's cool.
This is a prototype of something that will be live in Send-to-Many within a couple of weeks. We've taken a lot of feedback from the dozens of merchants that are using our checkout functionality. We had several 100,000 orders go through Send-to-Many during the holiday season, and of those, a significant portion went through the first version of our checkout experience. And our new checkout experience is built on the feedback that we received from merchants and from shoppers in that experience. So we've streamlined the way recipients will be added to checkout, the way that products will be selected and added to an individual recipient's order, and the ability to duplicate those listings and add as many recipients as you like. But one of the gifting flywheel features that we're adding is a customized gift message to make it clear to the gift giver exactly what the recipient will be receiving from the brand, from the merchant, by way of email notification. A checkout often will ask for a recipient's or a shipping email address. And in our experience, a lot of people just put their own gift giver email in there instead of giving you the recipient's email. And I think a lot of that friction is because people don't know what their recipients are going to be receiving. And so in our prototype, we're showing an experience where the gift giver would see exactly what the recipient is going to get by way of a notification email. They'd have control over when that is going to be sent, whether it's before shipping, when it's on its way, when it's out for delivery, after it's been delivered. And then we'll prompt people to add their recipient email or phone if you support SMS messages, so that again they have a real incentive to add that recipient email and help you as a brand kick off that flywheel by engaging your gift recipients at more touch points across the gifting experience. So it's not just the
That's
package
cool. That's super
they
cool.
receive from your brand anymore. It's potentially a couple of emails before and after the package is delivered, letting them know that it's there, just letting you expand the range of touch points that they'll be getting.
I have an anecdote for that one because like what you said is so true. It's like a gifter will input 30 times their own email just to be sure there's no like glitch or whatever. But we deliver our stuff with Uber, right? Uber, the fleet of drivers of Uber. Can you imagine the day things went out for delivery, the guy received 30 delivery in progress SMS or email, I don't remember. He was like, and the driver kept calling him. He was like, I'm here, where do I drop it off? So he's been on the phone all day because he didn't want to put the recipient's information in there so they could know when the things was going to come. So anyway, that's just, it was like, oh my God, make it stop.
Yeah. And I think what we're trying to do with this is just make it really clear to the gifter why they actually want to give you that contact information, whether it's for shipping notifications or whether it's just to kind of reinforce the gifting experience from start to finish. So those features are going to be live in early May, and if anyone is interested in exploring those and adding them to the site, just reach out to me at evenbetter.com or evenbetterapps.com. And we'll make sure that you get access as soon as that's available. But let's go back to a couple more questions. We've got, let's see.
What you got?
So I think we've touched on that one already. How about like retention for corporate gifting customers? Is that something that you deliberately work on? Once you've landed a corporate gifting customer, what are some of the keys you've seen to being able to retain that customer?
Can I start? So I come from a B2B background, and in B2B sales, as you would know, Cam, you following up and nurturing your prospects and your customers is where the relationship is built, is where the trust is acquired, is where they'll remember you when the timing is right as well. So once we acquire a customer, I mean, we're lucky that the product is actually great and they get good feedback when they receive feedback from the recipients of my customer, which is the gifter, but their recipients. But the reality is, like, we touch base with them. Hey, do you have any events this year? Do you have any birthdays you want to celebrate? We have an account executive internally that's acting as an operational manager and a sales rep to follow up with our corporate customers. But usually, once we make their life super simple, it's acting as retention in itself, right? If in the season we're like, just give me the list, I'll deal with the rest, the list budget, and they'll be happy. Usually, they like to knock back at the next season. So we have a good retention on the corporate seasonal customer to
Yes, Souren, how about Fastachi? What do you do with your corporate customers to keep coming back?
We started printing catalogs again and send them a catalog, corporate catalogs. So hopefully that works out better.
Nice.
Is that new this year, or is that's something you've been doing?
We did last season at the end, but we're gonna do. We're going to start mailing it. So, we did it once last year, and we're going to probably mail 3 or 4 times this year.
Nice.
And select what they can see. We give them the options for corporate gifting.
Yeah. And so is that specifically a corporate, like a corporate catalog that you're sending to corporate customers, or is that?
Well, for the holidays, we'll use it again for the holidays and corporate.
We want to do some mail outs as well, because in Canada, we can target with Canada Post, like all businesses in an area, whatever. We have like delivery zonage where we can deliver same day in an hour or two. So like those types of deliveries are fun because you get the cookies freshly baked, like an hour or two earlier.
Yeah.
We're also going to try to touch on the mail outs this year, see what it does. It's expensive, but see what it does.
Yeah. And how about preparing for the holiday ramp up? What are some any tips or tricks that you'd offer to other brands that are looking to build this channel? Like how do you prepare for a channel where you might get one order that has 1,000 recipients, or you might get you might get you might not get that. How do you prepare for that variability?
The core, if I may, at the core, it's about planning, packaging, and human labor, right? So like the people that are going to be actually making the orders, packaging and your actual product. Like if you have enough cookie dough to bake, just making sure that you can 10x overnight. Like literally would be my goal, because like you just said, it could be a customer brings 1,000 customer. So that's 1,000 orders. It's quite a lot to manage if you have a small operation, right? You're going to do like 24-hour shifts. So on these three factors, I would say packaging, I don't have the English word, but like matière première, like, what the actual product you will sell, at the tip of my tongue, and the labor.
Yeah. Souren, how about
I would say the same, packaging. If you simplify your packaging, buy early, it doesn't go bad. Always have it. You can use it again next year. If you're customizing, you're doing seasonal, make it simpler, just change ribbon or a sticker, then the whole packaging. It's not easy, transportation, manufacturing, everything is an issue now. And, book your ingredients, because things happen.
Yeah.
Especially nuts, we're a commodity, so it's grown once a year. So we have to make sure we have it.
Yeah. Do you two have questions for each other? Because you've been coming at corporate gifting from kind of different directions.
Well, you kind of answered a few of my questions as you were answering for you, in a way, because about the customization of packaging, we have the same type of mentality, in the sense that like we prep for labor, we prep for packaging, we prep for the source ingredients, because in my case it's chocolate. I need to be able to put my hands on containers of chocolate to make sure that we can produce our recipes. So I definitely relate to that on the nut side. So it's been very interesting, and we've had a chance to chat a bit earlier as well. So. Interesting business.
It's fun, it's especially when it's gifting. I mean, I enjoy working with gifts, because it's going to keep somebody happy.
Yeah, we sell smiles, as I said earlier, right? So like, it's not like we're selling like a cable or something like that, right? So it's fun to sell. It's a fun business to be in, the gifting business.
Yeah, and I think that idea of the flywheel around this kind of captures some of that too, right? Like the fun of the gift is really just somebody giving a great product to a recipient, and you get to participate in that really high engagement moment with both of them. And then the fact that can compound, like that recipient can then give to other people, and that recipient and those people give to more and more people. If I buy something that I love for myself and then go back and send it to all my business contacts or my business partners, right? You just get to you get that compounding effect that you don't often get in other parts of life, right?
Yeah, and if I may add, an interesting part of that business is that you'll often be the product that's given at a special moment in the life of someone, right? Either it's a birthday celebration or whatever. So the mental imprint from your brand, that experience with that person, is much higher than like buying groceries. Like I remember that gift I got that year. Like we still have customer that leaves us reviews like, oh my God, in the 90s, I used to love that flavor at that store, at that location, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they remember vividly the experience. Like that's like 30 something years later. That's crazy. So I'm very proud to be in that business.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today. I think this has been really informative and helpful to get your perspective on what it takes to build and run this channel. And if
anybody has questions for me, feel free to reach out as well. Like I'd love to answer any like doubts they might have about that whole corporate gifting stuff. I'm very accessible.
And Simone is very active on X. Remind us your handle on X so we can find you later.
Yeah, it's just at Seempac, SEEMPAQ. That's my full name, but like a little slug there.
Yeah. And Souren, not so active on X, right?
You can reach me
He's
with my
working.
email.
But
Just because he's
here,
working, I'm not.
here's Souren's website, fastachi.com. Check out their nuts.
Yeah, fastachi.com. You'll get to me.
Okay, great. And
Thanks.
unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to sample Simone's product yet, but I'll be in Toronto this summer, so
Nice.
I'm going to order myself some to the Shopify event.
Amazing.
And share them there.
Amazing.
Great. Well, it's been a real pleasure to talk to both of you today.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your time, and happy sending.